Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for your patience. It's been an absolutely insane holiday season where I've had such little time to do readings. I've done as many as I possibly can, but now I have some freedom. I was like looking at the date, and I was like, oh shit, this is exactly um, the 3 month mark. So let's uh let's get to it. First, I need to see something. Did you get the follow up or not? I don't think you did. You did. You actually did. You did. I was confusing you with there's two people that or yeah, no, there's two more charts from this day um that I need to get done. So actually, yeah, two. So let's get to it. Okay, so I like to be in present mode. I did not hide your. I'm just doing initials now. I decided I'm just only doing initials. Okay, and everything else is hidden. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, like maybe it's like one out of like how many people? I don't know. One out of like 100 people, maybe 50 people. It would matter, but it's just better. And I know this is really dark. I'm at my mom's. It's kind of complicated. Maybe if I do this, that's better. Wow, so much better. Okay, but either way, I'm gonna be mostly. Well, it's kind of hard to plan. I kind of just go with the flow. So looking good. AW. Okay. You know, let me just let me just go on IG. Okay, 1 second. I just PTSD when it comes to the very few times that there's been an error with the birth time, but let's just check. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like I'm feeling all this pressure, but it's totally, I feel like it's just coming from myself. It's like, let's see, have you messaged me? No. Oh, you sent me a photo. I'm not looking, 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 I'm not looking. Because that's just very okay. I kind of like saw a little bit of what you look like. Barely though. Okay, so you said that looks right. So excited, I just sent the PayPal. Okay. And now let's check here. Correct. 8:37. Perfect. Okay. Let's do it. I'm just gonna reset the clock. So nope, not that button. And my voice sounds a little messed up, but don't worry about it. I did a 3 hour live. Um, but I'm not sick or anything for the likes. All right, let me get charger. God, this is so much. Okay, that position works. So, all right. Um, right off the bat, first thing I notice is the Pisces North Node. And actually, you know what? Mercury retrograde's been messing with me so much. I just need to do one more test because I did a reading like one of the only days I've been able to do one. And the first 32 minutes were like in and out of me being sounding like a robot and sounding like, it's okay. Test, test, test. Normal sound, normal sound, normal sound, normal sound, normal sound. Okay, we're good. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, that was the first thing I noticed is, you know, I'm sure you've seen me talk in my content about the North Node and how important it is. It's really indicating, what we're really trying to strive for on a karmic level. Um, and to have it in Pisces on the midheaven is very significant because basically think of the North Node, it's not a planet, it is the metaphoric mountain that you have yet to climb in past lives. So you're really, it's like kind of like, you know, it's you could talk about it in the same, you could talk about it in like in a destiny type way, like in the sense of like, you know, you want to get out of your south node and get into your north node. So, um, and yes, you are a Taurus. I literally like pulled up like seven of like the next charts I could do. Literally every single one was either Taurus sun or Taurus moon. I was like, what? Like insane. But you're double. You're Taurus sun and moon and Venus. Nice, nice Venus placement. Um, and then of course Cancer rising. So that's very interesting. Um, those are very domestic energies, and they're in the 11th house too. And you have the nice ninth psychic 12th house Jupiter and Mercury in Gemini. So to have these placements, the first thing I'll get into what I was starting to speak about, but you know in essence you're trying in this lifetime, your soul seeks high spirituality. I cannot stress that enough. The midheaven, is often, spoken about as the career point, right? It's the part of your chart that speaks about your career and your public, how you're seen publicly, right? But it's not really the only thing that the midheaven is. The midheaven, think of it more as like external, just only external. Like it could be spirituality, you know? So everyone, like a midheaven isn't just like, that's just such a corporate, like not corporate, but you know what I mean? Such a 21st century usage of something timeless, astrology. So if you really think about it, like like in ancient times, the midheaven, we weren't living in these types of societies. Okay, maybe Atlantis type, yeah, but you get what I'm saying. So what did God want from um, the meaning of the midheaven? Well, I think that, we live in a society and that when you have your south node in the position it's in Virgo, to me it's a clear indication that there's been too many past lives where you stuck too close to home. Does that make sense? Too close to home, and and let's see if there's any squares. I do see one with Mercury. Interesting. So, okay, so that makes perfect sense. Okay, I have a really good feeling about this. Um, so basically, your Mercury is in the 12th house, but it's in Gemini. So it's in a weak house, but a very strong sign. Um, which to me makes it really strong in my own opinion. Because yes, 12th house can be self-deprecating, and people with 12th house Mercury's can get themselves in trouble with their words and with their way of thinking. They can be liars. But the thing is that you have Jupiter, the planet of luck, of perspective, of optimism, of, you know, just expansion, conjunct Mercury in Gemini. So it makes you an excellent communicator. And the fact that's in the 12th house, right? This is what I'm looking at right here with the part of fortune, is telling me that there's something around you and communicating. I don't want to sound cheesy. Like the first thing that came to and by the way, I'm like, when I speak, think more about, like, I'll put my camera on for a second. Think more about the essence of what I'm saying, because I'm a Pisces sun. I kind of look weird. My eyes are red. I know. I totally chill. So when I speak, think of it more as like the essence. Like I speak very metaphorically, right? So just know that, because you got your Mercury, which is your mind and all that. It's in the 12th house, which is the Pisces house, but it's in Gemini, right? But either way. So, this yeah, it's very, very, very psychic. And I think that you're born in 89. Okay, so you're born, 8 months before me, or 10 months before me. So, you basically, like, you have most likely this, like, ability to truly channel, to truly be very, very in touch with the other side, with the collective unconscious. I also have this placement. I don't like to really speak about myself during my readings, but when I have the placement, it's like, why not? The Jupiter in 12th house, and it's an amazing placement, because it offers a lot of spiritual protection. Now, going back to this, right? You'll see. I'll wrap everything together. So normally this Mercury would be a difficult one, but I think it's a special one. Now we look at this is the thing, though, is that it's only aspected by Jupiter. Let me double check out my eyes. The program is lying to me sometimes. So it's only conjunct Jupiter. However, it is square the nodes. So planets that are square the nodes, 90-degree angle to the north node or south node, north node, they're opposite points on the chart. That refers to a skipped karmic step. You follow me? So when you have, and then the 12th house on its own is a very karmic house, right? Some call it the house of repressed energies. It's very, very complex to explain. Just like how Pisces are hard to understand as people, the 12th house is hard to understand. It's the last house, but it's very karmic. But because Jupiter's in there, you have lots of protection, lots of spiritual protection, lots of your spirit guides protecting you, and so forth. Now, Mercury, square the nodes, when the axis of the south node and the north node, axis meaning, Pisces, Virgo, like that's the opposite signs. It's an axis. Basically, it's the same energy, but just the opposite type of manifestation of it, right? So this is a very clear indication that you have a past life tendency to have there's some type of thought process. Now, it has nothing to do with you being stupid. That's not what I'm insinuating, right? More so along, like, let me get my Merlin stone, by the way. This new really amazing stone I got. You'll be able to see. But it's not about, well, I like IQ stupid, right? It's more, it'd be more around like an interject, right? Or like a self, like a, and like, you will be the one. That's why it's very good you got the follow-up, which everyone should do. But an interject, it could be like a self-limiting belief. It could be self-delusion. any kind of way in which your mind keeps you away from Pisces, right? So with the South Node in Virgo, there's a tendency to be very, very rigid. And I wrote like a kind of poem post-ish thing about this the other day, not this position, just in general, like uh, about how, and I'm sure you know people like this. I mean, like everyone does. I mean, especially in America, like fuck. But so, and I also want to preface this by saying like your South Node like there's a very high chance that you are completely in your North Node, or like more so in there, right? Um, if you're getting a reading from me, you resonate with my content. I I take that usually as like, okay, this person's probably done some spiritual work, right? So Virgo South Node basically is like there can be a tendency to get caught into like the daily anxieties, the daily worries, and then when you have the Mercury, which is the ruling planet of Virgo, squaring, so it's the South Node ruler squares the South Node. What does that mean? Let's give it a thought. Well, it means that this is in like a super do-over. Like this is a mega point of emphasis. Um, and I think you definitely need to ask yourself, and please be taking notes. It doesn't have to be crazy, but for the follow-up, I do like to have I like to have the client have some notes down, and it's also a good practice to kind of reflect. And you can go as crazy as you want on it, but you don't have to go crazy. You just write things from like whatever you want to do. Some people write like really intense notes. Some people it's just more talking points, keywords. But that's very significant. The fact that it's in the 12th house, it's really showing me that like you will be blocked when you are not in the Pisces vibe, when you're not headed in that direction. I'm gonna go back to this. So then the question becomes, okay, well, how, like, what does that mean, further, and how can it show up, and how can I avoid it? Well, basically, as I was saying, there's a million different possibilities, but it has something to do with how you communicate or how you think, right? Um, and it's flawed. It's flawed, right? So a good example would be like an interject, like I don't like or like an interject, or even some type of like tendency, like lying. Like I'm not calling you a liar at all. I'm just saying that's a very good example of what this could be, like like a pathological liar, or something like where it's more where because of some that'd be more philosophy, just but or okay, easier example, like let's someone who just like self-sabotages through their language, through their way of thinking, like they're very paranoid, right? That's a actually very good example. So or like a hypochondriac, because when you're like that's the low energy of Virgo, right? Which I'm not saying you have. I'm saying that like South Node, we're trying to move away from Virgo. And the thing with Virgo is that at a low energy, it is like I was saying, those daily anxieties, those daily little things, like every single day there can be something that you can be pissed off about. That's true. Like every single day, like you can be in an anxious place where you get stuck in your head. Now, what does that do when you get stuck in your head? It keeps you away from connection with the divine, which is what your North Node right here in Pisces at 1 degree conjunct midheaven is asking from you. How is it possible for someone um to who's constantly um in their head about something, right? Or some things. And now I'm getting even more clues because I believe you have I mean, it's conjunct Sun 7 degrees, nearly 8. So I wouldn't say it's like unaspected. No, it doesn't show any unaspects for the Venus. Of course, it's wrong. Why is it 6? But I mean, like it's very in 21. Yeah, and it's opposite. Like, what is this talking about? Is this for real? My program is tripping. Like, how is this saying that? Oh, it's a vertex, but still it's 8 degrees opposition with Pluto. But regardless, different orbs, it doesn't have any real close aspects to your Venus, right? And that's called an unaspected Venus. Now, I would probably argue that you don't have one, but we can still talk about it and entertain it because it basically an unaspected Venus a lot of times can make someone very, very love obsessed, right? To the point to where it's like, how are you doing? Are you happy? That question is more based on how good or if they're in a relationship, blah blah blah, right? So to have that, but then it's conjunct the sun, and I would definitely count that as a conjunction. I mean, the sun, I would definitely use a way bigger orb than yeah, definitely like I would use a 10-degree orb, probably definitely, or like for sure 8th. So yeah, but it's just something to think about, just something to think about. Now, I'm getting some more clues here in my head, coming in my head too, because I see your Black Moon Lilith is also in Libra. So that could, in the 4th house, so that could also speak to the potential of being somewhat people pleasing. Or remember, Black Moon Lilith isn't a planet, it's just a potential. It's like everyone has a Black Moon Lilith, and it represents us at our like lowest, it's like it's like where we defeat ourselves. So in Libra in the 4th, it speaks to a similar theme to the South Node, where it's like, kind of, yes, like not taking enough risks, staying too close to home, allowing like the little anxieties of everyday life. As I didn't finish, I was saying before, like, like every single day, like there can be a reason for you to be anxious about something or be, you know, some like very, very earthly thing, and it keeps you away from like there's no way you can be connected to the divine if you're constantly in that worrying. And that's probably like a very big chance what it is worrying, excessive worrying. And this is the thing. Um your destiny is very, very linked to finding an unshakable, unbreakable faith, right? Um and that's done through the 9th house, which is traveling. So it's very, very, I mean, nothing surprises me anymore, but you're talking to a Pisces Sag right now, and your North Node is in Pisces in the house of Sag. So it's like I know this shit. Um, and basically, you know, you haven't allowed your mind to expand to the point to where you're allowing yourself to take risks when it comes to like traveling, for example. Huge for you. Um, dipping your toes into different philosophies, different ways of thinking, like astrology. It's amazing that you're doing this. This is like such, like, I don't know if you like had your chart done a lot. I really try to forget everything about every client unless I write down like they have a special request. Um, but yeah, I mean like right off the bat, it's like you could be someone who's really meant to do something, in a different country. or just experience different countries, but not like that resort bullshit, like where you're like technically leaving, but you don't actually you just go to like a nice resort. Like that's not traveling. Um, so yeah, it's really about like finding teachers and just learning wisdom, 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 and being so. Making sure this storm didn't start because they put my new really nice Patagonia jacket outside to like air out. I guess it's a fucking jacket, so the whole point is that it would resist the storm. But regardless, I don't want to fall on the ground. Let's go ahead and try it. Anyways, as I was saying, so lots of stuff. Wow. Okay. So yeah, it's about like that unshakable faith. Um, and Virgo energy can be a little bit OCD. It can be a little bit, you know, I've met many Virgos who you know who are very very spiritual. My mom, you know, Trey's like my brother, basically. Um, but then I've met others who are also spiritual, but who, when shit hits the fan, they lose that connection, they lose that faith, and I'm like, what the fuck, like if you really really like truly trusted the divine, and this isn't an easy task, obviously, but like it's not about fooling yourself too, right? Because Virgo can be very analytical. But yeah, really basically it's like and this can really reflect in your career as well. And um you can be someone who has a career that is based in some way around compassion, like maybe like something like psychology. I'm sure you already chosen your career, but I'm just saying I would say this the same way I would say it if you were, 20 or 18. So um but like when I say psychology, I just mean that like helping people um and learning, expanding your horizons, really um like more wisdom. And it doesn't even have to be like career, like job, it can, like I was saying before, it can be just like what you're doing um in your kind of like outer life, right? So yeah. Now hmm, interesting. So Palace, your Palace is exactly conjunct my sun. That's interesting. Um, but that gives you like a super strong intuition. Palace in Pisces at 20 degrees. Oof. And it's about trusting it, So, and I know you're probably thinking he hasn't even mentioned Taurus or Cancer. I have my own style. I'm gonna text you right now, by the way, speaking of my own styles. Here's now. You're probably asleep for sure. Or maybe not. And you have to message me back, like when I start doing the story game again, so I can get you on there. I just stopped doing it for a minute because I was just too busy. There's no way I was going to be able to keep doing it. But once we like done everything, um, just remind me and just like have story game is like the last post or the last thing you tell me. But besides that, yeah, I feel like this chart is like I feel it so clear, like so clearly and so obviously. Um, hold on 1 second. I need to 1 second. Hold on. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I accidentally opened a message and I have to listen to it. So sorry about that. So sorry about that. Okay, away phone. So, anyways, yeah. So basically, like the what I was getting to was like, okay, trusting your intuition, right? That is massive. So first, so it's very important for you to understand the and for us to talk about this. So for you to remind me about what these possible interjects might be. Now, being that you have all this Taurus energy, right? Um, this is interesting because this your moon is exactly trining your south node. So that would indicate a very beautiful relationship with your mother. I could not imagine you having a negative relationship with your mother. If you do, then maybe I should just quit astrology. I mean, yeah, moon is like kind of opposite Pluto, but not really. I mean, it's that's out of range for me. That's not really counting. And if it has any effect, like, it could just be um someone who, just really loved you so much. Um, 1 sec, I just saw. Okay, so there's like coyotes in my house, and I just saw something. Like I just saw like a color in my backyard, which is weird. 1 second. Right. Sorry about entertaining coyotes. Okay, so I'm back. Anyways, um, in essence, like when we mix all this together, right? Very domestic, like just you with your big three, excuse me, your big three is very domestic. And by domestic, I don't mean that in a bad way, but like I always think about this. How is your sun, moon, Mars, all your personal planets, which represent conscious parts of your personality? How are those affecting, like, how do those help you or hinder your North Node journey? Now, I would say that this would make it more difficult because as a Cancer rising with Mars rising, right, which is interesting actually to have Mars in Cancer rising with Chiron right there. Wow. So when you have when you have that kind of configuration, let me touch my matrix, or not matrix, my Merlin stone for a second. You know, uh, Cancer rising is usually not, it's not the strongest like in terms of assertiveness, but when you add Mars on there, it changes a lot. Mars rising is very strong. So even if it's in Cancer, it can make you someone who really defends, the people you care about. And it actually can make one quite assertive, and it's also opposite Uranus, which is if you see my list of most explosive aspects, it's right on there. So um And then Chiron being there on your Mars, you are a healer. You are someone who, like, and then all of that trine, your midheaven and your north node. So all the Cancer energy is channeled into that Pisces desire to dream, to allow, it's like allowing yourself to dream. It's not about pushing away the structure. It's not about completely removing yourself from materialism and from, society. Um, Taurus is generally, from my experience, they prefer to be accepted. Um, and so this is good. Having Mars trine North Node with Chiron trine North Node, it means that you, as a healer, if you're a healer doing some type of work like that, you can have a very, very strong effect on the people that you're working with. Now, you also have no fire in your chart, right? Zero fire, zero, zero, zero. And in terms of air, you just have the 12th house air, so it's in the water house, but it's still air. So those are so you have a very feminine chart. Now, interestingly, Mars rising, even in a very feminine, chill sign like Cancer, it's still a super strong power because you have Mars on an angle. Mars, the planet of action. So I'd be curious to hear about your assertiveness and the fact that it opposes Uranus to a lesser extent, Neptune, 9 degrees. But Uranus is opposing, a lot in your chart, right? So for that, um, well, that's more relationship stuff. So I'll get into that a little bit later. But let's just say that, there's this big thing. There's this big thing around relationships with you, around freedom versus security, around unconventionality versus tradition, around doing what you're supposed to do versus doing what's best for you and your individual spiritual growth. So basically, continuing. Um, one sec. That's the alarm. So get my jacket. Alarm. Okay, so interestingly, um, yeah, so not, you have no fire, but you do have Mars rising. So um there is that push. And I would look at that in the same way as, like, if you can find a way to really defend, and maybe you have, right? Um to really, like, be a healer, to be there for people, who need it. Um the voices, the underdogs of society. That's what I sense. Now, let me go back to my face. Why not? Damn. Where did Chargers go? Away. Okay. So I think a screenshot. Okay. So yeah, I think all those combine in a way that if you're that can actually make you a very good leader, despite, the lack of fire. Um, you could be a very good leader. Um, and on that subject, right? So we haven't even spoken about, all this Taurus energy you have, right? Sun, Moon, Venus series. Of course, Sun, Moon most important, but Venus in Taurus is extremely important because it's in its dignity position in Taurus and Libra, Venus. So Venus and Taurus usually are, let's just be real. Venus and Taurus are usually good looking. They know how to express beauty, and they also know how to see like beauty in others and the world. Um, and then being a double Taurus, right? And I'll go back to the question I was asking myself or asking before, right? About like how does this help or not help? Um, being a double Taurus, Sun and Moon, I don't really talk about sun signs here. Like I hope you know. I'll talk about different aspects of them, but we all know a Taurus, stubborn on a low energy Taurus. On a high energy, I wrote my post about this, right? Like it's great. And just very, very determined and sure of themselves, That really boils down to self-esteem for Taurians. So, and whether they take it from external or internal, that's huge. Now, this goes completely, completely with your North Node, because the whole thing is that when you have a Virgo South Node, to add little details, is that you might have a karmically ingrained way of thinking where you tie your value too much to your work or too much to your um something that's outside of you, right? So finding that within is very, very important. And there's also this thing in your chart, this kind of energy that is around family, right? It's around family versus career, around inner life versus outer life. Um, and just the need to really balance that in spirituality, versus, I guess you could say, like, well, spirituality is inner life. So yeah, spirituality, inner life versus outer life, and work, and like, let's be real, Taurus is like money. They like nice shit. Like, let's be real. I mean, I haven't met too many who are minimalists. I mean, that's not true. I know actually a few, because they can be so, they can be so earthy that they can just really just love the earth, and just all they want is just that cabin in the woods. But then they can also really, really love money and love, because Taurus is all about security. And this is the thing with Taurus moon. You have an emotional need for security, an emotional need for having things for some level of predictability. Now, the big risk with this, as you probably heard before, is that Taurus get too comfortable. They are the kings and queens of anything that has to do with the senses, right? And I think it's because Taurus, I forget who said this, but they said that, I think it was like copying some modern astrology, or copying some classic astrology, which no problem with that. I'm just saying, that Taurus represents heaven on earth at a highest vibe, right? And like, that has to be found within. That has to be found within. Um, Now, Taurus Venus kind of makes me think, okay, she definitely, okay, I saw your picture like a little tiny bit, and like, I might as well just fucking look at it now. Like I saw it enough to see that you're a pretty girl. That's all I saw. Now I'm looking at your photo. Alligator, yeah. Well, actually, I don't fucking know. No comment. Um, yeah. I'm just like, yeah, yeah. You're beautiful. Um, I'm kind of just looking at you and then thinking about your rising. So you do have that vibe. That's what I was expecting. Um, yeah. So you do have this kind of like very chill, but like that Mars rising, I can feel it, It's so unthreatening. It's so non-threatening, but it's also not like a pushover. But this, maybe I should get photos more readings. Yeah, I'm gonna just test this out. I've done this a few times. It's always been good, but I don't know. So I sense when am I gonna start talking about the relationship stuff? Okay, so you need to like really not be in any watch my words. I was gonna say conventional type relationship, but any kind of relationship that holds you back from experiencing like this high form of spirituality, right? Um, and with your Black Moon Lilith in Libra, um, you know, I just think and being a double Taurus, which Taurus is like the double Taurus, like by the way, I've met like a quadruple Taurus who's like a crazy traveler, you know. So we'll talk about all this stuff. You know, this is the thing. Your sun is opposite, your sun in Taurus is opposite Pluto. Now, that, usually speaks to issues with the father, right? Not going to say daddy issues, but, typically, if it's not the father, it's whoever the most dominant parent was, right? And this actually gives you more firepower. Makes you like this plus the Mars opposite Uranus. Like these are two of the volcanic placements I speak about, right? Um, but it can lead to lots of confrontations. And so with Pluto, it's a very, very close aspect. It's 0.16 away. Um, you people with that, they tend like there's always this control issue, and Tauruses can be very controlling. And there's a huge need to let go. There's a huge need to completely just like let the universe take over. Um, but like when I think of that in the context of like the Black Moon Lilith in Libra, which can be a pushover, which can be a relationship obsessed person, um, it kind of makes me feel good because I'm like, okay, she probably doesn't really like, even though she has very feminine energy, like she probably doesn't really take shit, in that like she probably knows how to stand up for herself. But like I just wonder if that's true in certain types of relationships that you've been in. Because a lot of times with this, this opposition, it's a difficult one. It's a really difficult one. Sun opposite Pluto, especially with 0.16, right? Because you feel like the world is opposing your deepest wishes a lot when people and it can make one very explosive and like I said, confrontation. Like there can be lots of confrontation, but it's all about like it's very scorpionic. It's all about death, rebirth, transformation. So it could have been like there was a relationship with the father that was very explosive and um, you know that really made you grow. Made you move because Taurus needs to fucking move. They can get way too fucking comfortable. So this adds a little bit of a Scorpio vibe to you, right? Which obviously, you don't have any Scorpio in your chart from personal plans, but um, it does definitely add that vibe, right? And 13, 6, 3, and no. Yeah, I was gonna say you have a grand trine of water, but yeah, I mean it's kind of like it's like Pluto, midheaven, Mars slash Chiron, 10 degree. It's not like a super tight one, but kind of works. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Um. So that like I was saying, that can add to your intuition. Um. But yeah, this just like really pushes you towards like lots of changes. And often there yeah, it could have been like as a child like a victim to like a very powerful, strict um parent parental figure. Um. There is a chance of having some trauma in that respect. So the the key, the challenge is to be powerful in the most positive sense of that word, which goes back to what I was saying before, finding that power within yourself, not just like, because people with this, they can be very successful. Oh fuck yeah. But it's about, having the ego be your slave, right? And having your soul, your higher self, because there can be deep pain. I have Pluto on the IC, right? So it's in my eighth house sun. So I have a lot of the Scorpio energy. And yeah. But it's very interesting how it kind of goes back and forth with your Black Moon Lilith, because the Black Moon Lilith is like it can be energy of like being too nice, right? But then the Pluto can be yeah, just like a big need to not have like that controlling energy, in relationships. Now, if I just go off, why is weird shit happening? No, it didn't. So yeah, 11th house is where your sun, your moon, and Venus all are. That is the house of humanitarianism, the house of larger than life goals, like the goals that you like take a lifetime to create. So sometimes people who are very 11th housey, um, you have to know that your time will come if it hasn't already. And with your midheaven in a mutable sign, career changes are very, very possible, if not, I don't want to say likely. Um, and it can take some time for you to really find like your real thing. And there could be several real things, because the Pluto opposite Sun makes you go through these different phases that are so crazily different. Like you look at yourself at different eras in your life and you're like, yo, was that the same fucking person? Was that an actress? So basically, basically, Pluto in the fifth house on its own is a very strong placement, right? Because that gives someone a feeling that they have a very strong, like they know from a young age that they have a very strong creative purpose. And because you have a sun and moon ruled by Venus, and you have Venus in dignity, I would wonder if the arts, you know, something artistic was in the books for you. I would wonder that, and I am wondering that, and you will tell me. Um, but but I actually didn't have anything to say but about there. I just said it. Yeah, I know. It's horrible. Um, yes, like let me look at some real quick. So that one was okay. Yeah, and then even like going back to your mose thing, like, oh, did I already say that? Yeah, I did. I just thought I said I thought I was speaking on it in a different way. No, no, yeah, everything with your moon is like really, really nice, you know. So you have like a lot of like good inherited powers from your most likely your mother. Um, you got a lots good stuff going on aspect wise. We can talk more about those in our follow up. I mean, I try to go over the most important stuff. I'm trying my best. I decided like one of my New Year's resolutions is that there's no way I can survive this year if I continue to do 2 hour readings. Like it just can't work. Like I will just piss people off because it'll take too long. So um I have a new way where I'm still speaking about everything. Um but in astrology there's things that are way more important than others. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, and I'm all about the big picture, which is what your North Node is asking you to be. It's asking you to just travel, to just go, to just feel, just flow, and just like look at yourself limiting beliefs, look at all the little bullshit and just say fuck it, and just go with it. But as I was saying, super high creative potential. Vertex there too. So, there could be children that are like if you do have children, that could be very life changing for you. It can give you like such a sense of purpose, and they can be very, 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 very powerful and very faded. Obviously, children are faded, but like, when you have Vertex and Pluto, where the fuck that Merlin Stone just go? Vertex and Pluto in that same position, in that same house, that's big time, big time, big time. Um, but yeah, there's a huge need to express yourself creatively. But sometimes people with this have to watch out for like being like too obsessed with attention. Um, and overly dominant with their children also. So yeah. And then your vertex is that's like about fate, vertex, right? So it's conjunct Pluto. So that's interesting to me that you have those two together. In Scorpio, because that's a very demanding placement. Vertex in Scorpio, right? It just gives lots of really intense experiences. It goes back to that kind of sun opposite Pluto, like death, rebirth, transformation, going through your shadow work, lots of shadow work. Especially like very profound experiences in love, you know. So yeah, it's also really amazing for the human singing voice. Um, and you can through your voice, it might not even be singing, it could be like anything from like chanting to you know like mantras can have like a very healing effect on people and on yourself. Um, so yeah, music like I think is something that you should really, really be close to because it can really, really like be impactful. Um, Aside from that, yeah, it's like it goes back to the voices in your head, it's very important for you to be very aware of any kind of self-talk because it can have a very positive or a very negative effect. So affirmations would be very nice. Um, Also it makes you a great healer, which I already saw, right? So Vertex there, it's possible to have like, you know, some destiny in um, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual areas of healing, and really, really kill in that area. So and then it's opposite Venus. So meaning the anti-verse on Venus, anti-Vertex. Sorry if I'm mumbling. My throat. Um, Anti-Vertex in Taurus definitely draws you to those who have like a level of stability, but and kind of that anchor energy, but you're also a Taurus, so it's like, but but like basically like the essence of it is that you really want someone who you can really like, who's an anchor, like who you really feel like comfortable diving into like the depths of life with. You're not gonna feel judged. um that's solid rock energy. They don't have to be porous like you, but like, um they should have an open mind. So as I was saying, speaking of open mind, to answer my big question, I think, okay, well, the only danger with this Cancer, we'll call it stellium, and then this Taurus stellium, is that these are two energies that are homebodies that usually don't like to take risks. And your North Node and your destiny is asking you to be a risk taker. It's asking you to be different, So I would really, really think deeply about what I just said. Because hold on. Yeah, just because like it's very easy for double Tauruses to triple Tauruses to get stuck, and to not go towards where they're meant to go towards. And so with love life, having Venus and Taurus, obviously in 11th house, with your sun, your moon, Sirius, as I was saying, like, friends will play a huge part of your life, organizations, um, anything where there's lots of people, very, very important. You have an emotional need to really be a part of a community, um, and to give back to humanity. You really, really want to do that. I could totally see you as someone who, almost sacrificial, um, like in terms of um, like really, really, really like giving themselves up. That sounds bad. Really, 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 really like, yeah. I mean, like doing something like what I'm doing. Where like I'm like what do I do? I've sacrificed a lot of stuff in the last year, you know, to do readings for people for probably, a lot less than I should get. Let's just say in terms of price, if I was like that. But fuck it, fuck it. And having Venus in the 11th house is really, really good for being popular, for attracting groups of people, and makes you like the peace maker in your groups of friends. You can also find love within uh friend groups. Um, Venus and Taurus, they love reliability. They love anything with the senses. Like they are definitely like cuddlers, and they need to be close. But I need to see all the love stuff. And the fact that it's conjunct your sun just adds just. I mean, I said you're beauty you're beautiful. So it's like that adds even more to that, right? And the Cancer energy that just gives you this very warm, like the Cancer rising and the Mars. It's like this very warm, like familial feeling, and I cannot see how that wouldn't have like an amazing effect on you. But I know that the question still comes up. Even with what I said, you still have zero fire, and we have zero fire. That makes it difficult to find motivation, and it makes it difficult to go towards that ninth house, to take those travels, to make those moves. I did say that you have several aspects that definitely facilitate that process. But yeah, I'm curious to know about that too. All right. So more with love, Juno. Look at you. You have your Juno right on my ascendant. Um, so you like your ideal partner is someone who is very stable, second house. As I said before, the anchor energy. Also, material security is most likely quite important. Um, Not in a gold digger way, just like you want to feel secure, like on an emotional, spiritual, every kind of level. Um, Even shared finances is probably important to you in possession. Um, and then like there's a real need for fairness, for fairness. Um, and then in Leo, you really want to be proud of your partner. You want someone who's fun, so stable and fun, who can bring out your inner child, right? And you want them to take great pride in you, and you want to take great pride in them. And it's very romantic. So yeah. Also, maybe even some like kind of creative energy within the relationship, right? And hmm, yeah. Yeah, I would say that like Venus and Taurus is a beautiful placement. Um, because like you'll approach relationships most likely. And I still need to look at some other aspects, but usually it's slow and steady. You know, looking for someone who will really prove themselves to be like solid and secure. And yeah, I mean, I just can't say enough. I don't like to talk about sex. Yeah, if I see a picture of a client, I prefer not to talk about that unless I see like an asteroid. Um, but like I think like Venus and Taurus, like yeah, they just like they like being close. They like that closeness. So yeah. They like to eat. They like how Taurus be. Um, they like the finer things in life. They like nature. Just a good Taurus is a beautiful thing. And then Ceres also in Taurus, so it's like that's kind of like your second moon. It's an asteroid. It's not important. It's not even close to as important as the moon, but it's literally the same as your fucking moon. So and it's conjunct your sun, so it makes you like a very very like just like hospitable person. Who cares about your friends a lot. Very warm within your groups. Can be very good for money too, or like for money in the sense of like having a very good reputation, which leads to success in different areas of life. Um, and yeah, you feel very safe like with your friends and when you're in groups of people. In Cancer, um, yeah, it's just the same shit. It's like you feel nurtured, cared for when your um loved ones, you know, lovers, friends, whoever, give you this sense of stability and security, right? Um, Also goes back to like the whole physical thing of like to be touched and stroked and nurtured in that very practical like way. Um, and then you do the same thing, like you'll show through in very practical ways your love. And Mars in Cancer, I mean, in terms of love, it's like um it's similar, not they're sextiling each other elementally. So you know, Mars in Cancer, um there can be some passive aggressiveness. I just was writing about that the other day. So you gotta watch out for that. But it definitely in the first house of Mars, like I said, gives a huge drive for self-expression, independence, meeting life head on. So it's an interesting combo for sure. But yeah, also Mars and Cancer, they love their families. They straight up love their families. And they'll fight for their families. and it's sextile your moon, so I mean you probably love the I mean and your ascendant sextile your moon, so I'd be very surprised. I would even take a wild guess and say that you look like your mom and that you really, really, really look up to her. I never make guesses like this because it's very hard with the parent stuff. But like, I mean, I just want to say that and also say that like it could not be correct. I'm not a fortune teller, but I mean, to have your ascendant exactly sextile your moon is a beautiful thing. Why, like, why is it so beautiful? Your ascendant is how you show yourself to the world. It's how you look, it's your personality, right? So to have it in a sextile, which is a smooth flowing aspect, moon ascendant, right? It means that what you like what people see is what they get. It gives a lot of um what's the word? Authenticity. Um like an example of like something opposite would be like you know, I'm a Leo rising with a Sagittarius, I guess there it is. But I have a Pisces sun. And no, it's a bad example. It would be okay. So I have a friend who is actually the same shit as me, but the Pisces is flipped with a Sag. So Pisces moon, Leo rising, Pisces moon, Leo rising, Sag sun. So basically, like that very sensitive Pisces moon is hidden. They just see the Leo, they just see the Sag, and I experienced that, but not to the intensity my friend does. They just see the fiery fun, all that, but they don't see that really deeply sensitive side. So for you, it's like there's a very strong connection. And also it makes your emotions it makes someone very like a Taurus moon is known as one of the it's a it's an amazing moon placement. Um um it's it gives one a real great ability to meet their emotional needs, right? It's exalted in Taurus. So it makes your emotions also in this aspect, it's 0.03 away. So your emotions play a very prominent part of your outer personality, right? And it usually makes people very intuitive, sensitive, um, and people respond really well to your um, emotional nature. And a beautiful thing about this is that you learn a lot about yourself through your feelings, right? And of course, like I said, super positive influence from your mother. I can't say the same about your father, but I'm not gonna like sit here and say that it's like all horrible because your son, father, is conjunct Venus. So, relationships are tricky with parents, and um, maybe he was just strict, but Venus on the sun, I think that there's definitely love. Um, and Saturn trying the sun, that gives you tons of responsibility. A great worker. Like I have this aspect as well, but sextile, super organized. Um, but we need to get into this relationship stuff. But I still have a few more things to say. But yeah, just like Sun and Saturn, it's just like really, really good for success. Um, yeah, just like someone who knows that this, like these are like there are steps that it takes to get to like the goal. So, anyways, as I was saying at the very start, communication is one area where I, I don't worry about because there's the Jupiter conjunction. I'm curious about because Gemini Mercury is a very strong position, but in the 12th house, um, there's a need for alone time, right? Because you can kind of merge your thoughts, and it can give difficulty knowing what's your thought, what's that person's thought, right? Now you do have double Taurus, so that gives you natural groundedness, right? Um, it gives a very super strong imagination, also. right? And it goes back to that whole thing of being like a spokesperson for the masses. The Taurus, Mars, no, Mars Cancer. Um, and it's very, very common to have psychic abilities, right? But then in Gemini, it's like, it's someone who loves to just exchange information, fast talker, someone who can just take in lots of info, loves media, all that kind of stuff, right? Whether it's books, letters, whatever. Like, so anything that helps you learn and helps you communicate. Now, I mentioned that your South Node was square this. So that's what I'm really curious about. Um, I'm very curious about what it is, that, and this is is the reason behind the square. But then you have Jupiter on your Mercury, which is a very beautiful connection because that gives you perspective and it gives you psychic ability in the 12th house, right? Um, thirst for not for deep spiritual esoteric knowledge, like big ideas, big plans, and it's definitely like very strong. And I think what it can do is that, like, I have a 12th house Jupiter, as I said, it gives psychic abilities. You know, it's just about strengthening those muscles, right? Which your pals 28 Pisces, like, you got that shit. So everything goes back in your chart to taking the risks, taking the risks, taking the spiritual risks. Look at you. God damn, girl. You have fucking Jupiter on Aldebaran. So I'm just gonna say that I wouldn't be surprised if you were a very fortunate when it comes to money, especially the double fucking Taurus. And Venus in the 11th house is another good indicator of wealth. Aldebaran is probably with Regulus the best star. And you have Jupiter, which some, might say is some might say is the best planet, but I don't like to use the words best or worst in astrology. Venus and Jupiter, right? Um, with Aldebaran right next to it. So, um, this actually like brings a lot. It can bring recognition. Let's see how close it is. It's not. I don't think it's close enough to like be um like when if this would be like right smack on, it would like give you fame. That's how fucking powerful these royal stars are. But it is, yeah. But it's still strong. It's still within a degree. It's still within point 50. It's within, let me do quick math in my head. Yeah, point 41. So yeah, it's within point 41. So yeah, lots of recognition. And sometimes it can bring like lots of money that's not earned. Um like a, what's it called? Like, I don't know. You just get money somehow. Um so the thing to watch out for is that it like unless you know the money was pursued like a very conscious way, it can all be lost. Um, and it can also make someone become lazy, which is a very big shadow. Don't fucking be lazy of Taurus and lacking fire. Like, people can be lazy. Now, I saw your photo. You have Mars rising. You don't look lazy. You look like you're in good shape and shit and all that. But remember that like Jupiter conjunct Aldebaran, it doesn't really get better than that. So it can make someone get, yeah, just like whatever. Let's see if I can find something. That's one thing. Yeah, it just gives great success and inspiration in whatever field these subjects find themselves in, which for you, the 12th house is, spirituality healing. I think this is chiefly because of the subject's unshakable faith and determination to pursue their dreams, no matter what the obstacles are. The chance of success is more likely if Jupiter is well placed near an angle or closely aspect by one of the other personal planets, which it fucking is. It literally is. It literally just said that. It said the chance of success is even higher if Jupiter is well placed near an angle. No, but or closely aspected, conjunct your fucking Mercury by one of the personal planets. Look at you. So, can you get rid of all this stuff? I might as well look here first. Okay. Ooh, lust on your sun. So that makes people sexy. I'm not saying it because I think that. I mean, God damn it. Why? I already, I said you're good looking, okay? So, but like, that's not like, this is the astrology speaking. Lust, like I have a girlfriend. So my girlfriend, she has lust rising, and guys are like lusting, like obsessed with her, right? But it's a very sexual, like, like, like kind of obsession. um, very primal. So to have lust rising on your midheaven, that close to your sun, especially in Taurus, when you have Venus on your sun, I mean, I'd be very surprised if you had any trouble when it came to um, at least that part of love. Fuck, what am I thinking of? So yeah, like groups of people, it's super important that you find your tribe, if you haven't already, spiritual tribe, or just people who really think like you can add to your way of being. Okay, nothing here. I'm looking at like a bunch of things squished together. It's like an asterisk. Okay, both seven. And you have Atlantis conjunct your sun too. So I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't really. I just added that one recently. Um, I don't know. All I'm gonna say is like, if you feel like a deep connection to Atlantis, we can talk about it. But I'm not even really that convinced that, like, I just don't like with an asteroid like that. It's like, okay, who came up with the name? You know, like you can talk synchronicity all you want, but like I just like I can't stop picturing like some random NASA nerd like, okay, Atlantis. Cobra, Pillow, like Scrabble, Sandwich, like naming asteroids. I don't know how it works. Um, I need to stop doing that. My mom told me, like, stare like that after wrinkles. Yeah, I know, man. Sorry, I know. Okay. So, I thought- okay. So let's talk about this, and then we'll be done. I see if I see. So, yeah. So with your seventh house, right? Let me get rid of all these fucking asteroids. So let me just go one more. Okay. So your seventh house is complicated. Um, hold on. Okay. Cool. So let me get rid of these. Okay. So basically, yeah, your seventh house is a bit complex. You've got the, it's Capricorn, so it's ruled by Saturn, which is in there. So usually people who have that, they don't really find their like love of their life till after the Saturn return, which you have passed. Um, it can cause, issues, not issues per se, but just delays when it comes to love and relationships and just lots of frustration. And there can be lots of fear of commitment in relationships. But then again, you're a fucking like Venusian Viti. So, you know, I just think that like with relationships for you, there's a very like I feel like you probably have to really, really, really take things slow and make sure that whoever you're getting with, whoever you're dating, and I'm sure you're married, like when I'm saying this stuff, but if you're not, um, that this individual really, 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 even on an unconscious level, is not going to hinder your individuality. Now, of course, you want this closeness. Of course, you need this closeness. Of course, you need this reliability, this person who's not the same person every day, but has that kind of vibe where you just can depend on him. It's the opposite of me. I'm joking, but no, I'm not really sure. Well, I'm not joking when I was talking about like being the same person day after day. 'Cause I'm not. I have no earth in my chart. Um, but yeah, like just feeling overwhelmed by one-on-one relationships. But like it makes you learn a lot through them. Um, but then having Saturn in Capricorn, like that just makes someone very strong, like lots of very ambitious. People born within our 3 year period had it. I have it at, at 23. Yeah, 13. So yeah, it makes you a very good worker, as I already talked about, unless you get lazy like Taurus. Um, and yeah, and then Neptune's also there. So that's like the rose-colored glasses in love and how you have to watch the fuck out for that, right? But then that same Neptune is also sextiling your midheaven in Pisces, which makes me think even further about how awesome it would be if you were a therapist, a psychologist, like someone doing something like what I'm doing or your own version of it, working with clients. It doesn't have to be like that. Remember, like you can literally be like a lawyer or unemployed. Um, you know, it's not the job. It is like what you're doing on a big picture level for your life, and you need to get the fuck out. You can't, if you are staying in your south node, that would show up as you being too much. And this is what makes it difficult, right? Is that you have the Cancer in the Taurus, which is the home body energy, and your south node is in, you know, yeah, the third house, whatever. Um, but it's in Virgo, and of course Virgo and Pisces, I would say, are both home body energies. But the fact that it's in the ninth house, it's just, like you need to do things that are deeper. You've been too scattered in past lives, too much of this, too much of that. And you need to like really like find a key worldview and philosophy that then you live your whole life based off of that. And so cool that you're, yeah, 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 yeah. Never mind. Uh, I mean, I guess Jupiter used to be the ruler of Pisces, but it's just, I mean, it's the co-ruler and it's in the 12th house in modern astrology. Neptune's the ruler, but it's just cool that um, you have the Aldebaran fucking Jupiter in the 12th house conjunct Mercury. So you can really be someone who makes like a living through something related to spirituality and using your voice in that sense. But it has to be related to honor. It can't be capitalistic, like in the sense of like I'm doing this for money. All right, just about done. So then you have Vesta. Okay, so with the Neptune, just know that like people who have that sometimes they see the potential too much compared to like the reality of the person. So just know that. Um, and they also search for perfection in their relationships, right? So they become very disillusioned with imperfect partners, but then like it's like they don't look at themselves. Um, but it's at its highest, like someone who wants a very spiritual union. And then you add um, we'll go with Uranus, right? And that gives the need, and that opposes your Mars, right? So that gives the need for like a very unconventional relationship. Um, like this is like the story of my life. Like I have Venus and Mars and Aquarius, right? So, but like it's not like it takes over everything, right? But in essence, what basically like freedom in relationships is very important to you. Spiritual freedom, Neptune, and then freedom to be your individualistic self, which is so important because I haven't even said this yet. Your 11th house is your sun, moon, and Venus in Taurus, but that's the house of fucking Aquarius. So you are not meant to just be traditional. You're meant to really stand out. And you might have pressures in your life that kind of try to push you in this box of kind of staying in this kind of rigid box, but you have to get the fuck out of that. And your black moon loaf in Libra might make you want to people please and not like you know disappoint anyone. You have to get over that shit if that's the potential. Um, and yeah, you want unusual relationships where you learn a lot about yourself. Then Vesta, you work hard in your relationships. You have a lot of focus on them. You're very dedicated to your partner, whoever you're with. Um, and it can make someone very like like very serious and become very fixated on one person, and just the whole idea of like structure and order. It's also very good for work with clients. Um, and just very good for ambition. Have Vesta in Capricorn, amazing. Um, just being able to succeed in any kind of position, you know, corporate, whatever, um, like like if you were in a company, you definitely like be in like probably the higher management. If you're like in like a big company, like workers will like turn to you for like a sense of stability and authority. You just have that. All right, I think I said everything. Let me just go through it again. I said this, said that, said douche. Of course, I did go longer again. Oh, I didn't really talk about Chiron in the first house much. Um, Basically, like that speaks about how there can be some like trauma, physical trauma, um, potentially, or emotional. Just you're wounded in some way, right? And a lot of times with that, it's like people who have that, it's like in cancer, it makes you like kind of unsure of yourself and your own family. I mean, I have it here too. I love my family, but I do definitely feel like a kind of, you know, I love them to death, but like I'm way different. Yeah, I mean, I'm different than like pretty much everyone in the fucking world. So it's not an ego thing. It's just true. But like, you know, there is definitely a lot of walking on eggshells. You know what I mean about some stuff. But yeah, a lot of times there's painful relationship with the father, but not not necessarily. Um, and in the kind of the first house, it's like a lot of times it's like when you express your true self, your true individuality, you get rejected, and then that brings up like the energy of some of the other things we talked about, which the confrontations and stuff, right? Um, but what happens is that leads you to that self exploration, and it's conjunct Mars. So that Mars conjunct Chiron pushes you to be an emotional healer. So it's a beautiful thing. And yeah. Last thing I'll say is part of fortune is in Gemini. What a perfect cherry on top. What a reading. I love this. This is beautiful. Um, so part of fortune in Gemini, basically it's like your flow state. So it just literally says that like when you are communicating in that way that I told you, I just saw lightning. Um, like when you're communicating in that way that matches um that matches blah 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 and blah blah blah. That matches like what's that? The lights flickering. 1 second. Why is my dog barking? Hold on just a second. I need to see what's happening with my dog. my God, so hard. Out of nowhere. Kiko, Kiko. You can see Kiko. He's one of the best dogs ever. Kiko, say hi. Kiko. Kiko. Kiko, come here. Come here. Up, up, up. Up, Kiko. Up, up, up. Up, 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 up. Kiko, up. Up. Kiko, come here. Kiko. There's that couch. I don't know if you can see it. There's a bunch of things happening. I can't even make it. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so there's Kiko. I don't know if my camera's on. Kiko's. Kiko. Don't be afraid of the thunder. You tail wagger. Oh shit. Anyway, so it's been a beautiful reading. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Like, I just love this feeling when I don't know, I just start. It's just, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to you about some of the things that we're curious. Um, but yeah, Heart of Fortune's basically like in the 12th house. It's like, you're at your best when you're just killing it. When you're just feeling it in the spiritual realm, creating that spiritual relationship with yourself through language, through expression, through words that are human words, aligning, really with your innermost self. That's what brings you the greatest fulfillment. And, really being with that Pisces North Node, it just goes perfectly with that. And, Gemini, it's about learning and communicating. So, and being present and getting past the whatever that square means, with your nodes and Mercury, getting past that is like the greatest fulfillment. Anyways, I said I was gonna try to keep it to an hour. Well, that didn't really work out, did it? No. But it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed this. How much of that stuck if I looked and it's like, this has not been recording. I hope that there's no Mercury retrograde BS. Although, what didn't just end? Right, it's like ending today. When did it end? The 10th, right? Kiko, don't worry. That she is. Kiko. Kiko. So worried. Hold on. I'm getting a live extra show. Kiko. Don't be afraid. Even Odie, who's 11 months, didn't bark. You barked. You're like 7 or 8 or something. All right. Anyways, that's it. Beautiful time, beautiful reading. And I look forward to speaking with you. So, okay, just one other thing. Okay, so of course I forgot to say this. So what most people do is that they get this reading. They're like, oh my God, Jesse, they're good. I'm joking. Kind of. No. Well, basically, they get this reading. This is the natal chart, right? You get this done once, you're good. You know, I mean, you can get it done from another astrologer and report back to me and tell me if they did better than me. Uh, uh, but yeah, anyways, basically what most people do is this. They get this reading, right? Reading and follow up. And instead of just getting the follow up, they add the current astrology because I give a very, very good price for that, right? Usually it's like 350 something, I don't even know. But you already had your second turn, so I'm happy to do it for 250. So what does that mean? So as I said, natal chart done one time, that'd mean Nando. Current astrology changes every year. So you can have a transit right now that, or like your progressed moon, your solar return, which is the chart of this year for you. I do it all. So that reading, you already have the follow-up paid for. So the follow-up is just an hour. If you want to, you're welcome to keep that. But the majority of people, I'd say probably nearly everyone actually, unless there's like a big financial issue, they add that reading. So 250 works. If you're interested in that, becomes like a 3-hour live affair, where we meet on Zoom, hour one follow up, which is just basically us only talking about this. And then, usually it's like 3 hours or a little bit more. But my resolution is to keep these shorter, or keep things shorter this year. But, so let me know about that. No pressure, obviously. And regardless, we'll talk in the follow up and take as much time as you need. Um, most people watch this like 3 times, maybe more. Um, and oh yeah, and like last thing I'll say before I end this video is that I'm in America right now. I don't know when I will be going back to Romania. I originally was going to go back the 19th. But I'm nearly positive I'm going to extend my stay here. So yeah, like I'm basically just saying that for the sake of scheduling, to yeah, give me like well, actually no, I don't need a few days. Like I can schedule with like whether it's just the follow up or the I should come up with a name. Current, it's a follow up plus current astrology reading. So let me know. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Ciao. Bye bye. And I'm gonna enjoy the storm with Mr. Kiko. Kiko, say something you never said. Kiko? No. Oh, what a great look. All right. Ciao.